Hi, listeners. Thank you for tuning into my channel. Today, we're going to talk about the new moon in Aries and Pluto stationing and how that would pan out over the course of next 2 weeks for all of us. We're going to talk about the longer journey that we are in and how the new beginning that comes with this first new moon of the astrological calendar would affect all of us. My name is Charu and I'm your host on the journey. So let's dig in. Let's start from where it all began. We've had 8 years of Uranus in Aries, from March of 2011 to March of 2019. That set our collective drive free. It ignited a desire in all of us to be our own person. It started the whole startup culture, the number of startups and the thought process that we could stand on our own as a person. That seed was planted through a freedom that Uranus in Aries transit gave to all of us. This was overlapped and continued with 3 years of harsh aspect from Saturn and Pluto between December of 2017 to December of 2020. That inflicted pain on us from all directions, from old structures of our life, trying to inhibit this drive, this freedom that we wanted to experience. This was followed by 6 months of Mars from 27th of June 2020 to 6th of Jan 2021, testing our drive to still continue to move forward despite the resistance. And now, 26th of March, when Venus and Sun met together at the star point of Aries, that conjunction marked the rebirth of our desires after all the tests and turbulence we have been through. We stand today ready to rise up, full of fears, wounds, doubts, but yet ready to do it all over again. This is a sequence of events which got us to where we stand today, about to begin our new life. Warts and all, wounds and all, standing up yet again. Jupiter will enter Aries in May of 2022. This will be followed by North Node in Aries in 2023. The expansion in our drive and our individual contribution has just begun. We are going to see an uprising. We are going to see an expansion in our individual initiatives with both of these transits happening back to back from 2022 to 2023 based on the seeds that are being planted right now with the new moon in Aries. This expansion is just getting started. We would continue to have Chiron in Aries till 14th of April 2027. Chiron in Aries are tough nails generation. They dust their wounds and move forward. That's the kind of generation goes through Chiron in Aries, which will continue till 2027. We had this last transit in 1918 to 1927. The children of conflict and of Great Depression saw that last transit. Its wounds never heals, but it revives and regenerates through healing its initiative by taking action. The wound shows the pain of not feeling entitled to act on will. But Chiron is both the wound and the healing. So if we feel the pain of not feeling entitled to act on our will, Chiron also brings the healing for that wound. Feeling that punishment will come if we acted on our will is something that we all need to heal from. But Chiron lessons are always that we learn to stand up for ourselves by being a voice for another. It's a teacher, it's a healer. It heals by healing others. It's a collective wound where we are irrevocably damaged by factors beyond our control, forcing us to grow in our initiative, forcing us to know what we are made of by feeling the pain of existence. It represents a part of us that offers great gifts through the affliction of a great wound. And in this process, we find a unique path. And every time we enter Aries season, we get one step closer to that unique path. Pluto stations, as we have 4 planets in Aries right now, making hard aspect. This is an evolutionary lord of underworld which is making a hard aspect to our initiative. Everything below the surface comes to the surface when Pluto makes a hard aspect to our personal planets. It's one of the most powerful and beneficial new moons that we are experiencing right now, with Venus, Mars, Jupiter all supporting it, along with Mercury and Mars in mutual receptions. Yet we need to cross the Pluto darkness. Pluto, the planet of death and destruction, has not left us yet. It continues to make hard aspect to Aries. It continues to make a hard aspect to our drives, our initiative, our need to stand our unique self back up. It continues to evoke fears. It continues to whisper in our ears that world around us would collapse if we stood up alone. Like it's dangerous to exist as an individual that we were born to become. But it has also closed the door to the past, irrevocably. So you cannot simply turn back and be that past person again. We all are crossing the Rubicon. I'll take you back in history a little bit. Winter morning of 49 BC. A man called Julius Caesar, born with 26-degree Aries moon conjunct Pluto, is said to have uttered the word, "The die is cast," as he asked his army to march across the Rubicon River, despite the explicit orders from his superiors not to. Because he knew his choice was clear. His choice was to remain and give up all that he stood for and his powers, or cross over and fight. As Caesar famously is depicted, paused for a moment at the banks of the Rubicon, taking in the enormity of this task, which would start the Roman Civil War. We all saw that pause coming in with Mars square Neptune, which happened and continues to happen right now. Last week was that moment. Romans thought during this pause either Caesar's heart would fail or his troops would desert him. There was just so much pressure in that one moment. But neither happened. He chose war. He knew there was no turning back from there. That crossing changed history. One man's will, one man's crossing changed history. Pluto will go retrograde on 27th of April, 4 p.m. Eastern Time at 26 degree 48 minutes Capricorn. As Pluto stands still at this degree, squaring the Aries Sun on 16th of April, we collectively stand at a point Pluto has never been before since 19th April 1775. At the degree of no return, cardinal signs specifically would be feeling completely out of their element because they have never been here before. All of us have never been here before in our lifetime. But there's history to support what happens when we get there, though everything is not the same. 1775 was the first year this degree was visited by Pluto, and as you know, Pluto is an external planet, so it governs, it affects the psychology of the collective and hence contributes to global events. 1775 was the first year this degree was visited by Pluto. It was the year of give me liberty or give me death. This is a common theme which is running on this degree, which is running on this new moon. Give me liberty or give me death. April 1775, when Pluto last visited this point, is considered to be the beginning of American Revolution. It all started with a seemingly innocuous Stamp Act taxes, which was passed to recoup massive debt accumulated, and this taxed wide range of transactions across colonies of America. The American colonies were only allowed to buy British goods, and then they were forced to pay tax on it. It was just unfair overall. 19th April 1775, the bloodshed happened at Battle of Lexington and Concord, and that ignited American Revolution. Pluto stood still on that day at 26 degree 43 minutes, similar to what it would be doing on 27th of April this month. I would only say this is uncharted territory. We are in for civil revolution as we enter the second half of this month, and even though momentum of external planets and hence global events will cool down as one by one external planets will go retrograde, they would see an upheaval before they go retrograde one by one, with Pluto going retrograde in April, Saturn going retrograde in May, and Jupiter going retrograde in June, leading to the 4th of June, second square of Saturn and Uranus, which also stands for civil revolution. 22nd April onwards, we will see some sudden events. In fact, when Sun and Pluto make a square with each other, we will see some sort of conflicts come in because of the words that are said. Mars will be making an in conjunction to Pluto as well on 18th of April. After 14th, 15th of April, starting from 16th of April, we'll start feeling this power play that comes into existence in the global events. Pluto transits, they're much clearer when we look back in history versus in the moment. We surely are about to write a new chapter in history. Let's talk about the Aries New Moon and its significance for us individually. With currently 4 planets in Aries, all being one by one squared by Pluto, the existing and evolving power structures will question our individual initiative. Because Pluto is an external planet, global events, Aries is our own personal initiative. And when the two is in conflict, it's like the global events come in conflict with what we want to do for our own individual self. We are challenged to stand up in this situation of our people for what we love, what we desire, and we want for ourselves. This intensity creates a major change in how we emotionally react, how we define security, how we think and communicate, in our personal values, in our ability to self-love, and what we want for ourselves. Pain is easiest route to reconnection with ourselves. Death is the closest next, and Pluto is both pain and death. Remember, Pluto upheavals that we are in the middle of right now is a necessary opportunity of growth and change. It is the poison and it is the cure. It tears down existing structures, but it also creates a state in which there is no option but to be reborn. It's a part of us that's screaming to evolve archaic structures of our life, rules governing our societal structures and governmental structures, which were created for another era, are for another era, not for the post-Uranus in Aries times. And hence those archaic structures of our life, rules governing our societal structures and governmental structures that were created in another era, will be questioned in this post-Uranus in Aries times. Being an outer planet, it works on psychology. It has been chipping away. It has been chipping away on our psychology slowly. We have been irrevocably changed from within, and hence the external existence needs to evolve to match that. We are entering a phase where we would be facing some of our own fears that have kept us small. Catharsis of the past is deep-seated in this new start. It's a wound that is going to ooze, and that's what excites us to go to the next step. As you would find yourself actively fighting past fears and old patterns. We have a lot of support. As I said, it's one of the most powerful and beneficial new start because we have a lot of support from Jupiter, Venus, Mars. Venus is right on the spot at the new start, sitting over there, asking us to choose ourselves for once. Jupiter is saying, trust me, use me. I'm a tool available to you right now. I'm going to expand, evoke me, evoke the faith, evoke the guides, evoke me for your expansion moving forward. Mars is saying you have options available. You have multiple options available. Once you take an initiative, you'll see the doors open. So you have Jupiter, Mars making a sextile with the new moon. Sextiles are when we need to evoke those elements. It is on our initiative, which is anyways the case with Aries New Moon. Everything is dependent on our initiative. Pluto is evoking fears within us, but with those fears, we are becoming firmer in our resolve to move forward in some ways. Venus is saying you got to choose yourself, and all of them together are providing a lot of support to move forward. Rumi said, give up the drop, become the ocean. Give up the drop, become the ocean. It's choppy, but we will live larger than before. New moon is at the degree of the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. It points to the optimism that abundant life is available, is open to everybody. The great dream is possible for everyone. This degree is linked with the New Thought or the American Thought Movement, which is based on the teachings of Quimby, who was an American mesmerist and healer from 1800s. His basic premise was that illness originated in the mind as a consequence of erroneous beliefs. Essential distillation of this and further teachings on the subject was essentially, you are what you think and not what you think you are. The vision needs to be fully developed and believed in our mind despite the external elements. Mercury is in mutual reception with Mars. What we think we're going to act on, what we're going to act on will become our thought process. It's a cycle which is going to feed itself. So we have to change our belief system. We have to change our thought process. We have to say those words within ourselves despite the external elements for it to take shape in reality. This was very much used, this new thought philosophy was used by John Bovey Dodds in 1800, who was an early practitioner, actual medical practitioner of this, that the diseases originated in the electrical impulses of the nervous system and is therefore curable by a change in belief. That the diseases can be changed by changing belief about them. There's a lot of criticism available in the scientific community on using this as a sole cure, but no one disagrees in the ability of good vibrations, the right belief systems and thoughts to support healing. That's all we're talking about. Pluto, our collective fears, our dark side of our collective complexes, as well as outdated power structures, are challenging this new thought, this new positivity, this cosmic optimism that this new moon represents. And it's something that we have to collectively overcome by acting with courage in our individual capacity, despite the fear, despite the angst. As they say, courage is the very definition of acting despite the fears. This new moon is happening close to the point of full moon of October 2019, where we something might have closed on or completed in October 2019. But I've been saying this in the past, all new moon, full moon videos. These sequences are kind of a repetition of end of 2019, when you might have decided on something. You might have thought, this is who I am, this is the direction I'm going to take, this is where I'm going to go. But with the Saturn Pluto aspect who we are as a society, the very fabric of our existence has changed. So we will initiate something completely different in the place of what we thought we have closed on, or we ended, or we concluded in October 2019. Venus being at the heart center of this new moon, relationships and desires and finances are very much at the center of this new start. Venus Pluto at the start of this new start ignites a lot of passions, a lot of intensity. This is our heart chakra, which is going through this steely phase, intense phase, where both the fears and the desires are coming out. Achieving our desires becomes a do or die. It's almost like the desire isn't worth existing if it's not a do or die kind of a desire. If it doesn't ignite that kind of intensity on you, it doesn't seem worth the effort. The pain of worthiness is a strong driver in this new start, which can get anyone up and running despite the wounds. The moment that wound of worthiness is pressed on, you find your drive back. Venus is currently invisible and it squares Pluto. New starts in financials and relationships will have this intensity underpinning it. Underpinning this intensity of control, sexuality, psychological games. It will be nothing but deep and transformative, but it's not a cool and easy experience. It's for example, in love relationships, if they're starting right now, this is like called irrevocable attachments. Venus Pluto contacts are irrevocable attachments. If you're looking for drama and intensity, we would normally find it in this aspect. As long as we own that part, that we are looking for emotional honesty, and that it will come at the price of intensity and drama, we are okay. But we are expecting it to be a cool thing, then it's not going to be a cool thing because it's not originating in a cool aspect. At an individual level, this intensity to find emotional honesty from your own life, because that's what you're searching for. You're looking for honesty from yourself, from your own heart right now. You'll be questioning a lot of things from yourself in terms of what you truly want out of life, what you truly value. Deep down, what is the primal desire of your life? And that is going to drive us through the wound of in the past betraying ourselves by not going after it, the wound of emotional self-betrayal, the wound of pride, the wound of past humiliation or loss in some ways will finally make us choose ourselves. That's the driver. And it's all right to press that button once in a while to move forward, and that button is being pressed right now. Pluto is standing still, pressing that button all the way till end of this month. It will evoke the worst fears in us. It will evoke the past hurt from us. It will evoke the past emotional self-betrayal from us. It will evoke the pride, the loss of pride or past humiliation or loss in some ways from us. And that's the way it tries to propel us to the rebirth. We could try to self-sabotage a good thing and our own desire by going under that fear, or we can become conscious of that fear. Awareness of this is everything because it's a psychological transit. The hindrance is psychological. It's giving us both the strength and the personal power we need to participate in this social and global change that we are witnessing, whether we ask for them or not. Open your arms, take it, and decide to never look back. You have crossed the Rubicon. Good luck. I'll see you in the next video now.